Okay,
Recording.
there we go.
All right. So how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. All right. So this little show episode, whatever you want to call it, is all about the courage to be seen and heard. But I want to know all about your, what did you call it yesterday that you were going to go have done today?
My gene key and human design chart. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, your kinky jinky thing that
My
you.
kinky jinky. Well,
Well, I
since,
didn't know what it
since
was.
we're, yeah, so, wow.
And you said it was sort of like explaining the chart. And so I want to know all about that. And then I want to know what happened when you went to the doctor because you couldn't pee. That's what I
Well,
want. Does
okay,
this
well,
start with the jinky kinky reading?
I did have a kinky jinky reading, but since we're starting on that, and today is the full moon, happy full moon, everyone. Happy full moon, Kevin
Oh,
and Scorpio.
yeah. So this one is coming in with her eyes all blotchy, mascara running down her face, doing the walk of shame because she's pretty intense.
Yes, she is pretty
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah. I
And
stayed indoors all day long and did not interact with people who I felt like might be angry. Because
because
Mars and Pluto are doing their thing.
they are doing everybody's doing their thing. I did have that kinky jinky reading.
I'm sure the full moon, did it affect it?
No, I mean,
Okay.
well, everything affects me, but you know, um, I knew you were going to start this out like this.
Well, I mean, you
And
don't
you
have.
wanted to talk, no,
I'm,
you wanted to talk about my,
I'm just enthralled with you and you are literally a living, breathing unicorn because you go off in all these different colors and all these different tangents. And there's nothing that you won't attempt or do. And I'm pretty much the same way. I just had never heard that term for the reading, and my brain was going into, is this a bunch of horse dookie that someone's sticking a label on it? But then you were going to go do it and you were so excited by it, I thought, well, there must be something in it. So what did you
yes,
get from it?
yes, I got from it that that is my life. My life is about, I have to go through the things I have gone through, the things that I've gone through, and I had to go through the things I've gone through so that I can experience them, number one, and then teach them, and then it just not only be the person I am, but I can share with them. And it's a healing for not only somebody else, but for myself.
So it's what you learned then from
Yeah,
this
I'm
reading is that
learning.
the mess that you've dealt with is your message for other people. Oh,
But that
wow.
that
I don't
life
like
is
I'm going to turn this digital thing off. I don't
that
like people call me like this.
that
Talk
life
about
is that life is messy, and that it's okay that life is messy. And
I, I
okay,
I totally agree. Well, I mean,
okay,
I learned years ago, where did I learn it? In one of the spiritual classes. Let your mess become your message. Let your pain become your purpose. And while none of us really want to go through these things that we go through, that we su what the I don't know that we suffer through, we survive through these things in our lives only to later find out, oh, if that hadn't happened, this other stuff wouldn't have happened.
correct.
Hmm.
So it's basically okay. In the past couple of years, it's time for me to take off my mask. Okay, because it's the let me be that perfect person, the perfect child, try to be anyway, the perfect sister, the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect, and everybody knows that everybody's family's got that messy part inside there. It's like the butterfly that's in the cocoon that's all ooey gooey, and before it becomes that, but
Butterfly.
yeah, you try to hold it together, and inside you're like, I'm total shit in here.
Interesting analogy because while the caterpillar is an entirely thing by itself, doing its own thing, goes into the chrysalis, it tries to destroy the cells or trying to make the butterfly. And the cells that want to make the butterfly keep coming back with more and more and more and more until eventually there's freedom. So it's almost like what you're saying. this control of people in our lives that want us to be, as you called it, perfect. It's interesting because we come out into the world and everybody says we're perfect. We've got all, unless there are some issues, but even then we're perfect. And
Right.
then somehow or another along the way, we're not either meeting the expectation of other people, and we have this sense that all of a sudden, what we believed was perfect is not, it has flaws, and those flaws become the comparison, and then comparison then goes down the drain hole. Bye bye joy. We are, like you're saying, striving to be those perfect people that other people tell us we should be or we're meant to be. It's interesting.
It's really interesting. And um, well, joy is my part of my joy is my in my astrology chart. Joy is in my it's my purpose. It's who I am. It's to bring joy to people. It's to bring joy to myself. I am a light.
You're the fountain
So
of,
yeah.
yes,
So
plug in the
um when she said that, I was just like, first thing she said was, "Oh my God, Joanna, I'm so glad to see you. That pink hair brings me such joy." And it said it brings me such joy too.
now. How did you find this person?
You remember that computer group I'm in that I told you about that I didn't
Yes,
know
yes,
how
yes,
I got in?
yes, 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 yes.
She's
Well,
in there.
you turn a
No,
corner, you end up in Never Never Land and didn't know how you got there.
right. And she said, "Well, we both know how you got there." And I said, "Yeah, I do. Divine intervention." Yeah, it's
Mm.
beautiful. Yeah.
So, tell me why people should do this.
Oh, I think people should do their astrology chart. I think people, if they don't want to do astrology, they should do gene keys. They should do human design. It's to get to know yourself better. It's to give yourself permission to um, it, to know yourself better and to say, "Oh my gosh, that's why I do that. Oh
So
my gosh, that's why I
Gene,
don't do that."
you're calling it Gene Keys,
Keys,
the key
K
of it,
E Y S.
right? And Gene being Gene.
Yeah, not the jeans you wear.
So this is all part of what your astrological chart is revealing.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I like this. I mean, I like the way this is going. I was just excited and intrigued by what that meant. So, what was your takeaway? And are you going to go have another one of these sessions?
Oh, I'm going to go back to her, and it's so in depth. It's like um, astrology. When I learned astrology, I told her the more I learned, the less I knew
Oh,
because
I got
it's
all right. Back
or,
one up. The more,
okay.
the less you knew.
I felt like there's so much to dive into. And she said, when I said that to her, she said, "Well, why do you feel that way?" And she goes, "Because I'm going to tell you, it's right here in your chart." She said, "Because I'm a Sag and I have a stellium in Sag." She said, "It's right here, and give yourself permission to be, it's okay to not know everything." She said, "But you research everything and you learn everything and you want to know everything and you want to go back and take another class on everything." And I said, "I do." And she said, "You don't have to."
Okay. So somehow or another,
Yeah.
so along this little journey of life that you've got, you convinced yourself that you needed to learn more and do more, which I think for anyone listening to this is really quite common. It is
Well,
all,
not for everybody.
well, don't you think people want to go learn more and do more because they don't think they know enough?
Not everybody.
Hmm. I'm talking about
It's
the awakened ones, not the woke,
no, no, no. I don't think it's in everybody's DNA to be like that.
to be curious.
I'm not saying curious. I'm saying obsessive about learning material. I mean, there isn't one waking moment where I'm like, I got to learn more. I got to seek out more. Sagittarius is our seekers.
I mean, I can buy into that, but I can
Mhm.
also accept the fact that at some point in most, well, maybe you're right. I mean, this is a conversation that I think could go off and have many
Yeah.
different.
Oh, this, yeah.
I've always been, now for me, I grew up obviously in a different country and in a different era. It was the 60s when I was going through the early part of grade school, and I absolutely hated it. If anyone were to talk to my mother, she would say, I literally went into first day of school kicking and screaming and hated it. There was no way I wanted to sit at a desk in rows and rows and rows with other kids learning from somebody who was scribbling on a blackboard. I could not wait to get out at the end of the day and go play and do what I needed to do. And I was that way through, they call it infant school, then junior school. Then they changed it was in Europe or in England, they had grammar school and secondary modern, which flipped to middle school and then high school, upper school, they call it. I hated it, every bit of it. If there was anything I could do, then go to school, I would do it. However, as an adult, I learned physics when I went to do my hairdressing apprenticeship. I learned chemistry through that whole experience. I learned like math, how you get to mixing ratios of color. I learned all of that stuff. Human biology was what the effect of permanent hair color has on people's hair. So all of that, I mean, shape and design and all of that stuff, I learned long after I left school. So I think I share your passion for learning new things. And if I trace the decades of my life, every decade has an element of higher learning in it that I, like you, fell into something and realized, well, this is kind of interesting. And I just took it. Like each little chapter was this new journey from leaving a global corporation of which I helped to develop their education into when I want to teach people yoga, and I'd only practiced yoga for two or 3 years prior to wanting to teach it. And then that all ended during the pandemic, and here I am, trading hairspray and a yoga mat for angel dust fairies.
And gluing our wings on, and I've got
Oh
this
my
mane of
God.
unicorn mane going down. Yeah.
So,
Um,
I mean, correct me if, I mean, I stand corrected, and I hold my hand up for saying you're probably right. You are right. It's so much as I'm as curious as you are about how things work and going down that rabbit hole. But I do realize not everybody is.
no, and I think we also have what houses we've got things in, and what transits we have, and what's going on, and the sky at the time, and where we are, and there's a lot involved, and that's what I say. The more I learned, let's just not say the less I knew. The more I learned, the more I realized there was so much more to learn.
About
Astrology, gene keys, so much more I learned to about the universe, about what was out there, about um, what I didn't know about. I mean, you name it. What we hadn't been taught, what we hadn't been. There was just so much more to learn.
so much more to learn that you got from this session today.
Know about a life, about the
Oh,
universe, about in general.
now, at any point during this session, did you ever think that you might want to offer this and share this with other people?
I had looked into gene keys and human design years before this. So she said, "Do you know anything about this?" And I said, "Oh yeah, enough to be dangerous, but not enough to like do this for somebody."
Well, I look at you and I see how far forward you are with your own knowledge of astrology and your own knowledge of the different signs. And I'm always curious how, when you write things and you do like last summer you did a workbook, I think it was
Right.
June, July. It was brilliant, all the things that were in it. And then it stopped. And then, you just did another one. Your writing is off the charts good. Now, I know we all have lives that go on. It's not like something, I'm with you. I am somewhat reluctant to commit to something that's super, super long term, not because I don't want to do it, because I don't want to let people down. And I don't
I
want to put out a deadline out there and then all of a sudden, oops, I can't make that. Does that make
no,
sense?
and that's what she said. She said, Joanna, you're way too hard on yourself. And this is where you do know a lot of material, and let yourself go. Stop thinking that you don't know this material. You do.
So does this lady teach this?
Uh-huh. So
Oh,
she said, you're great at this. So here's where in the chart you need to stop thinking you need to learn more. And I was like, woo. Yeah.
stop thinking and learn more.
No, she said, stop thinking you have to learn more because you
Oh, oh,
already,
oh,
yeah.
oh. Well,
So
you
it
know that.
gave me permission
Yes, yes, yes.
to, okay.
They
So
call that
just,
imposter syndrome.
yeah, imposter syndrome. Yeah.
And we know so many people
Yeah.
that stop and wait and stop and wait. And since we're being honest and going down this rabbit hole,
Yes, we are.
I'm the first to point people out that like they have no clue what they're talking about. And then, okay, if they can do this, yeah, so can I. Off I go. But I learned a lot of all of that when I went through the yoga teacher training. I was 50 years old in a room full of people that were 20 something. And it was full on power yoga, one breath per movement, thinking I'd lost my ever loving mind doing this. But it was fun, it was good. That's where I learned to strip down all of the horse dookie. Like I realized I have to get in touch with who I am before I can ever ask somebody else to transform themselves and transform their life and get on with them. And I, through that process, I watched people who were stuck in this cocoon of the identity of themselves and who they thought they were and who they weren't. And I think one exercise we did, it's called the some kind of magic carpet. We had to learn a nursery rhyme.
Stop. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
no, it
Magic
was
carpet.
called
No,
the
I
magic.
know.
We had to learn this.
I'm teasing.
And we're in the room, 125 people. And you know, my one side, whatever the side of the brain that's analytical, said, why have I got to learn this silly nursery rhyme? And mine was Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. That's what I had to learn over the lunch break. But they wouldn't say why we had to learn it. They just said we needed to learn it for as much verbatim as we could. And the other one was Take Me Out to the Ball Game. There were so many other well-known songs that people sing. Okay, so we get back from lunch. We're all put into these smaller groups, which we had been doing all week. And they then said on the floor in these groups was a mat. And they said, you sit, you get in a circle, and the one that's closest to the mat is going to go first, and then you take your turn. You have to stand up in front of your group and you have to sing whatever song you sing. Now, I didn't have a problem doing that. It was like in my head, I'm like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever done, but let's just do it anyway. So I did it. And then the girl says, okay, that was really good. And I'm thinking, I'm just doing it. I'm not even concentrating on why I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. And then she whispers in my ear, you need to do this as a burlesque singer. And I'm thinking, first of all, I'm like, you mean like a stripper? And she's like, yes. So in my head, in this room full of all these people, I'm going to sing this nursery rhyme and take my clothes off. Okay, and I'm like, I'm not even thinking that this is a problem. I'm like, oh, okay, it's all about bearing your soul and being okay and being fine with who you are, which I think I didn't realize that most people truly, truly struggle with. That
Oh,
honesty component, that integrity component, that piece of who are you? And then, of course, coming into this genre where there's readings and channeling and so many people, I don't want to be disrespectful, but wear masks, they wear costumes, they, put on this big flouncy thing about themselves. And, when you said a few months ago, we're going to do this, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm up for all of it. I'm up for whatever you got going on. As long as it's like fun and it's joy and people get something from it. And we
Yep.
can, I guess, enlighten people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you and I have said for months, the world is so heavy, full of, ugh, that's not what I came down here to do.
No, I didn't either. That's what we're here for. But, when I look back at what has happened to me, it is, uh, I'm the common denominator. I
You're the
have,
common
oh, sure. I have repeated cycle after cycle after cycle. And uh, when I had my heart attack in 2014, it was, oh, spirit had been tapping me on the shoulder, but I was like, no, I got it. No, I got it. And spirit was like, no, you don't.
Had you had
Wasn't,
heart issues up to that point?
had I had what?
Heart issues up to that point.
I
You
had had,
had heart issues until you had one.
well, I had like, um, my lupus had attacked my organ systems, but not like that. I
So
had
you
had,
experienced heart
well,
problems.
it was from low potassium.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Did you have stents put in? That was
Nope.
my experience.
No.
Mine was a blockage, arterial blockage, which
No.
they've now, what is it called? I know what they call it, but I haven't had any problems since. It's like, oh, so yeah, that was my wake up call. And spiritually, open your heart. My heart was not open.
Right. But now I'm at the same point of it took me till I was 50 again to like go, I need to change things.
How old?
50. I'm now 53. That happened to me in 2014, is now 2025. So every time I would say, okay, I got this. Okay, I got this. Hmm.
You kept saying you got this, but you did have it.
I didn't have it.
So you woke up to it.
I woke up to it. So, you and I are doing this thing, and it's to let people know, okay, today's the full moon in Scorpio. This is the one that you're going to release stuff. Yeah, she's here to, you, like you said, smudged eyeliner, the ripped, hose, doing the walk of shame to tell you, hey, you
I
better
think
release it.
that is very much true, but there are so many who are blind or oblivious or completely, not following the same old. I agree with you. This
Yeah.
full moon energy and all for me, and I'm sure you're the same way, all of the incredible synchronicities that are happening.
Yeah.
The I thought about this, oh yeah, me too. I got this, yeah, I got one too. Whoa, hang on, how is that possible? And seeing things that I didn't experience seeing, things that physically were not there, and now they are.
Yes.
Um, Tell me about rituals and realness.
Rituals and realness. You tell me, and what was there that you want to know?
I don't know. What would be a ritual for people to follow? Like, how do people get to you and I think, are pretty real. I mean,
Yeah.
we're real, but there has to
Some
be.
people don't think so. But
I don't
okay.
know. I don't. I just think. mm, I don't know that I've ever been called anything other than. I'm trying to think in my life if there has been a time, we're both in that one group where they were talking about looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself and seeing, when you're authentic. And I'm thinking, when have I not been authentic? Usually it's when I'm fearful or concerned about what may or may not happen or what somebody else may or may not think. Now, that hasn't happened in a long, long time. Um, I mean, I think, in my 50s, I put pay to a lot of that. It was like, I'm going to do it until I decide I don't want to do it anymore, and then I'm not going to do it anymore, rather than I'm not going to do it because I don't know what's going to happen. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think my only inauthentic thing was, um, I burnt myself out. My body is dying. And I'm saying to myself, I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But yet here I am.
So were some of these experiences that you had incredibly painful?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I
All right.
mean, I just had a third of my lung cut out. And the past thing, I just went to the hospital. I mean, we've talked about it, but everybody needs to know like, I couldn't pee. We were talking about these kinds of things. And went to my doctors, and because it wasn't painful, it was just I was uncomfortable. I say to them, I have a stone. They tell me, you don't know, you would be in much more pain. Well, I don't have pain like other people. I've been like that since I was a kid. So they're all telling me, I go from doctor to doctor to doctor. No one believes me. I feel like I'm not believed or heard. This has been a pattern throughout my life.
I heard something last week from a woman, and it was on one of these podcast news things, and she said the misogyny of medicine is what she called it, and that she was having all kinds of symptoms. It was very much linked to endometriosis, and she was getting a lot of these different. It was part of her muscle tissue was pushing up into her cervix. And, most of the medicine doctors, research, all this have been driven for decades by men. And I'm not on here to bash men by any means. We've had some brilliant scientists that have been men. But your story, and you've shared it with me, where you've gone to the different doctors, the one common thread I get from it is that nobody's listening to you. No one
Nobody would. Mhm.
is, and what I'm so inspired by you is you made a choice that you were going to trust your intuition and you were going to follow what your intuition told you that was what you should be doing. And then you discovered by following your intuition and going where you felt like you needed to go, you realized all this time you've been doing the wrong thing. Does that make sense?
Correct. And I went to the ER eventually because and I have stones.
And they said you didn't have stones.
Oh yeah. So yes, that's why I was having trouble. It's amazing that just do a test, just do a urinalysis. That's it. But for me today on this full moon, I and the 2 days prior, prior and the 2 days after, I have decided this is something I'm letting go. It's a part of me that no longer exists. It's not a part of me anymore.
So do you make an affirmation? Do
I
you
do.
have a
I will
ritual?
I will have a ritual of I have a sheet out and I write down the things that no longer serve me.
Give us
And
an
I light a candle and I
no
burn it.
serve you. What no longer
Yep.
serves you.
The idea of being no longer heard, no longer believed, that no longer serves me.
Ah,
Yeah. And
um,
the people that don't hear me and the people that don't believe me, I deserve and I want people that believe me and hear me. Those are the people I want in my life.
so mm, do you release any of
Yeah,
that?
I do.
So do you kind of how would like, I'm a big fan of the I am
I
affirmation.
love I am affirmations. I love them.
And so so if I'm understanding this correctly, it's the idea of releasing something first, letting it go, and then replacing what you've
Re-
released with positive affirmation to
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Abs-
how would you suggest folks make a statement of releasing something that they no longer claim?
with an I am affirmation
Or you could do it with an I am.
or just yeah. Um yeah, the easiest one is I am believable. Now the easiest one for to cover everything is I am worthy because everything usually falls under the worthiness. cap.
Right. Well,
Okay.
I want to link back to something you said a
Okay.
little while ago
Sure.
about being a pattern,
Yes.
pattern after pattern after pattern after pattern. When you realize there's a pattern, does that not stop the pattern?
It did for me. Yes.
So I think that's awareness. That's having
Yeah.
self-awareness to realize,
Yes.
oh, there's a problem. Like you and I've shared with you that I had a relationship that I was invested in really heavily, really big, really and it didn't work out, which relationships do and they don't. However, the story and the experience of that did teach me a valuable lesson. Number one, I do not need to fix other people to be loved. I don't
Correct.
have to, I'm not on somebody else's journey. They're on their own journey. And the other realization in the actual, we'll say, the breaking up drama for me was this was something that ended that I did not want to end. This was something that this was a story that I had become comfortable with and I'd become invested in. And I think it was accepting that something had finished and accepting that it wasn't my choice and releasing that weight so that I could then fill it with something else. And once I realized that this was not my story, this was not my journey, and I had to just accept the fact that it's finished when I didn't want it to be. It was all about accepting what's happened. So, how would you get to the point of accepting that you weren't listened to and nobody heard you? Is that still something that would be getting in the way of your pattern?
Uh, Today, nowadays,
Well, I don't think nowadays. I think you're way
no.
past it. But
Yeah, I'm
I'm
way
just
past.
talking. Someone listening into this wants to have the tools. Like they may have these same similar experience, and no one's listening to them. They've got a
Um,
story to tell. No one's listening.
well, number one, if they're listening to us, they know that they're not alone. They've got a family right here with us, and they've got people that are with them here with our family right
And that's so
here.
important. That is so important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Number two,
permission to share.
oh yeah. Number two, they probably were in the same kind of situation that I was in, that they were afraid that they were going to hurt somebody's feelings.
Hmm.
They were afraid that if they said anything, um, if the doctor's feelings, the family's feelings, not necessarily yeah, but if they went against this person, or they went against this person, or it's not the right thing to do, or the limiting belief of you weren't supposed to do that, just stay in your place, stay in your lane, do this, do that, even though they really want to, but you just can't.
Yeah, I do. I'm a big investor in the breadcrumb theory that you do little breadcrumbs bit by bit, one step at a time, one thought at a time, one piece of growth at a time, because to take a big leap for some people
Right.
is foreign. Like, I mean, I don't mind taking big leaps. I mean, I left my homeland at 22 with a suitcase of $200 and ended up here. And it was an adventure. I mean, I think that the first night in a bedroom in Miami, I was going to sleep. This is before internet, before texting, before cell phones, before any of this. And I'm in somebody's house. I barely know the person whose house I'm sleeping in, looking up and saying to God, what have I done?
Right.
What have I done? And it all worked out. It always worked out. However, there are people who want to make these leaps and want to make these changes. They almost have to do it incrementally. The lovely part about it is they can see the vision and they can see the dream. It's how do we get there when all these doubts and fears from these past patterns keep showing up? And it's usually other people.
I did move out when I moved to Atlanta when I was younger, and it's you just have to keep going. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I moved back home. You have to keep going, and you have to put yourself first. It's not a selfish thing, it's a selfless thing, and you just have to keep going.
So, for our listeners' sake, what story do you feel like people are done carrying, and whose voice are they ready to stop listening to?
They're the story that they're ready to stop listening to is the story that's not theirs.
Yeah, so what we're discussing
Yeah.
is likely, being that it's a full moon, it's likely
Yeah.
going to be stirring stuff up in people. It's going to
It's
be, it's
it,
intense. Yeah,
if your story doesn't say to you in any way, shape, or form, oh my God, this is bringing me joy, or it's a hell yes, dude, it's not even a, if it doesn't say to you or light you up or doesn't bring you joy every moment of every day, it's a no. And if
yeah,
it doesn't,
I can see that. Well, and we live in a culture. I was having a conversation with a client at the weekend, and just like you, I get, how come you're just so positive all the time? You're so upbeat. There are times when I'm not so, like
yeah.
when my animals don't want to go outside and I wake up and there's late pee-pee all over the kitchen floor, and I'm like, oh, yeah, there are times like that. But what do? They had to go and they didn't want to go out, so you clean it up and you get on with it.
Keep going.
However,
Yeah.
I'm with you. If there is no joy out there and there isn't any harmony, peace, fun, people to make me just giggle and laugh and do what we're doing here, there's something wrong. However, on the other side to that, there are people that want it, but don't necessarily want to do the work to get it.
But I think it can find them. I do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like attracts like. That's
Yeah,
all law
I
of
do.
attraction.
Yeah.
You know yourself when something's wrong. I don't know, where do you usually feel in your, I feel it in here, in my chest and in my heart. I feel that heaviness, that woe. And I was going to say, we've been bombarded with, I've got to be careful, reality television, where
Uh,
one competition elimination show, they're not going to show you the joy that people had when they make it. Sometimes they do. They're going to show you the drama that led up to the people being told you didn't make it, or you're not going to be here, or you're this. And I think these reporters, whatever you want to call it, the media is set up for drama. People are going to be they're going
yes,
to be drawn to the drama. That's curious. That's where their curiosity is. I listened to a podcast with Winona Judd, and she said fans out there are curious. They don't want to be curious about the highlights, about how you made this and you made that and how you felt about it. They want to know about all of the mama drama, all of that. And I do think it takes some deprogramming for all that. It takes shutting that off and listening to something else. But I had to learn.
I I think people want something different now.
Yes, 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 yes. I feel it. You
I,
feel it?
I totally feel it. I
Yeah,
think people
I
want
do.
something different.
So for our listeners that are listening to this, if this is stirring something up, do you think that's a good thing?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Do you
I
think your
do.
soul is waking you up to something new and different?
Yeah. And I think that's a great thing.
Yeah. My therapist said one of the things she pointed out when I was first going to see her was that I wanted to find a reason why I had the feeling. I didn't want to have the feeling. And she kept trying to get me to have the feeling. You have to feel it. Why are you not wanting to feel it?
We talked about the same thing with me today. She's like, um, I just laugh and I smile. And I said, I used to never cry. And she said, yeah, I believe that about you. It's right here in your chart. And I said, my kids would laugh and say, Mom, have feelings? And I said, yeah, now I cry. Now I have the feeling move through me. The emotion moves through me instead of just bypassing it. Yeah,
Yeah, you let it. You
I let it.
claim it. You claim the
Yeah,
tears. You claim. I once heard that when we weep, when we cry like that, it's the closest we can get to the divine that there is.
yeah.
Yeah. I
instead
mean,
of just,
we've had people sit in our chair that, how are you today? And then the tears start coming. Oh, well, here's a box of tissues. Better out than in. Let it out, let it out. You know. All right, before we close down, do you have any affirmations that you want to share with people?
um, I, I like to say every day, I am beautiful. I am loved. I am worthy.
I am beautiful, I am loved, and I am worthy.
Mhm. Because
Okay,
for a long time I didn't believe those things.
you didn't.
No. Yeah.
You didn't. Okay.
No, and
So
I love mirror work. So if anyone struggles with those same things, stand in front of your mirror. I know that's tough, and it is tough at the beginning. Stand in front of your mirror.
okay.
Talk to yourself. Yeah. Talk to yourself.
And I
I
think
mean,
I
look at me. I'm tearing up now just thinking about like not even like being able to say those things or believe those things about myself. Yeah, it's
did you
tough.
not be able to say it or you don't believe it?
Not being able to believe those things about myself. Yeah.
Ooh. So it's
Yeah.
bringing up, stirring up.
Oh, yeah, it's stirring up stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think for me is I'll take a leaf out of your book that you taught me is I don't need anybody else's permission to shine.
You don't.
I don't need anybody else's permission to speak my truth, my authenticity, to say what's on my mind. Um, and I can easily let go of any story that does not bring me joy, happiness, and harmony.
Absolutely.
All right, any last minute thoughts before we let people go?
Just that today's a great day to get rid of anything that doesn't serve you. And um, and we're here for everybody.
And
Anybody who, yeah, go ahead.
how do people get in touch with you?
And you.
Well, I mean,
It's,
Facebook, Instagram, you've got all.
yeah, Facebook,
Well, I guess
Instagram,
it's got the unicorn and the fairy.
the unicorn and a fairy.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
All right.
so
Until
we're
next
still
time,
at we're still at the beginning of what we're doing. So please be patient with us. So yeah,
I think I just roll with it. I love it.
yeah,
I just
I
love
love it.
all of
Yeah,
what we're doing, what we're about. And I like the rawness, the organic way this is all flying off, and we'll see what happens. So
yeah.
until our next subject, which we haven't yet discussed, but we'll get there.
We'll get
Everybody
there.
have a great, I mean, just enjoy the full moon. Get out there, be
Yeah,
honest with yourself, find the joy, find the harmony, and we'll be chatting soon.
yeah. Mwah, mwah.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.